the greatest moment in my life.
Hello.
Hello.
It's Monday Night Magazine. You know what that means, don't you?
Yeah, and it's the volley. Oh, I mean,
Andy's in the bath.
wrestling. Yeah, Andy is in the bath.
Andy's in the bath.
Weekly bath.
Weekly, yeah, just the once a week. The rest of the time is baby wipes and roll-on deodorant season 3. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever and whenever you may be listening and watching from. This is Chain Wrestling Live with Mags and Si, a Radio Techers production. I am the quite chirpy, happy, smiley this week, Si, because I got to watch a little bit of WCW, and that always brings warmth to my heart.
Aww.
And joining me, as always, is the Fours Count Anywhere to my Fours Over Everywhere, the DDP Yoga to my oddly missing being a smoker after all these years. It's really strange, Magsy. I haven't smoked for years and years and years. But
that was the most tenuous link.
The last, I suppose, month, 2 months, every time I smell a cigarette, I'm like, oh, that smells fantastic.
Oh, man.
You know? Yeah. Oh, I know if I had one, I'd feel really sick, but it's just the smell. It's like, oh, and that's right, Mr. Pavey from Year 10 English. I did rhyme the words yoga and smoker, and I don't care. All right. A podcaster whose late night activities are always lights out and unsanctioned. Oi, oi. Mr. Mags, how are we doing, sir?
I'm doing brilliantly. Yeah, my late night activities are always unsanctioned because the wife hates me eating toast in bed. But yeah, I'm doing good. I'm actually chipper today because you turned up early for a recording rather than have me panicking and sweating at the last second. You rocked up early and you've joined us with all these amazing people in the chat. We've got Sharon, Dan, Charlie, Scottish Danny, Benny Mac, Graham, Anya. We love you all to bits. Thank you all for joining us. It's amazing.
Absolutely fantastic. It's brilliant to see everyone in the chat. And I'll tell you what as well, Max. I went on the YouTube page, link, whatever it was, an hour or so ago to share it on Twitter. Because you set it up, like, so we've got a direct link that we can share nearer the time, don't you? And I set it up. I went in there and had a look. There was already one person waiting for the show at 10 to 8.
That's amazing. Just
That's
sat
fantastic.
There, keep refreshing the YouTube. Nope, they're not there yet.
Yeah.
I'll just...
Who is that?
On,
if that's somebody in the chat who's waiting at like 10 to 8, 8 o'clock or whenever it was, let us know, because that is fantastic. That's commitment to the chain wrestling cause. You're here much
dedication.
Before I am.
Yeah, that's. He rocks up late, so you being there waiting an hour early is amazing.
Once we've done 13 live shows now. Is this 13 or 14?
Yeah, 13. Yeah. Yep.
I've been late once.
You have, and that will never ever get dropped.
Brilliant stuff. Got to live with that for the rest of the run. Okay. How's your week been then, Magsy? What have you been up to, mate?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I watched the football with Radio Techers, Liverpool versus City, which started off drab for the first half, very much a chess match, and then Jesus Christ, that second half was fucking amazing with 4 goals. Then we had some UFC, pretty early one on Saturday, finished at like maybe 3 o'clock. So yeah, been good. Been quite a fun weekend.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. Good stuff.
Yourself?
I went to see an Oasis tribute band at the Guildhall with my sister and my nephew. Oasis is?
With a question mark.
No, that's me. I'm not puzzled.
Must Hogan pause?
It's OAS-IS.
Okay.
But they seem to come through Gloucester Guildhall like once a year, sort of COVID allowing. And we went last year, and they were absolutely brilliant. So they were brilliant again this year. To be fair, they were so good.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant.
I've seen Norway Sis a couple of times. They're pretty good.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. No, it's good. It's nice to see my little sister as well. Being out with her for a bit, and I say my little sister, she's 38, so it's not like she's a little kid or anything like that.
She's always your little sister, mate.
Yeah,
always.
And then I got my nephew who's like 6'1", 6'2". I mean, I'm a tall fella, and then he's there, and then we've got his mate came along who's 6'5". So I was like the shortest fella there for once. That's not happened to me for a long time. That was weird.
Wow.
You know,
you midget.
oh, that's it, mate. I was the resident dwarf in our group. You know, it's and then on Sunday, the wife and I had a takeaway curry for the first time in yonks, and it was bloody fantastic. And now all I can think about is having a curry every night.
So, fun fact: I made a curry from scratch today, and not from a jar, from the actual like real life ingredients, and it was delicious.
Okay.
Yep.
Good stuff. I'll just ring Balti up, mate.
I mean, I can share the recipe with you. It's pretty simple, really.
No, I'll just ring Balti up, mate. It seems like a lot of mucking around, you know.
Wow. I mean, it'll way better for you than your local Indian takeaway. But if you had a good time, then that's all that matters.
Yeah, we used to sort of order a takeaway and have like, you know, wait for the kids to pile off into bed and, you know, have a meal together like semi-regular. But since COVID, we literally haven't done it in so long.
Yeah.
And then the wife was just like, "Oh, let's get a curry," and I was like, "Yeah, brilliant." Oh, mate, it was so good. I loved it. I could have eaten it all over again. It was so nice. You know, when you know you've had too much to eat and you feel rough, but you know for a fact it was that nice you'd eat it again.
Yeah.
That's what I was like.
Or when your body's saying you've had enough and you've got half a bowl or half a plate left, and you think, yeah, but that's too delicious to leave.
Yeah, I'm not leaving that.
Binning that. I'm finishing it. It may come out later on from either end, but it's getting finished.
That's it, mate. That's it. Yeah, so pretty good weekend all round, buddy. Really, pretty good weekend all round. I enjoyed it.
Good.
Yeah. I suppose we get now onto, and that's when I have a little look at what's popping up in the chat. We can have a little look at what we had non-wrestling topic wise this week.
So the chat are doing what the chat usually does, and that's conversating between themselves, not really paying much attention to us, just chatting away. We've got Scottish Danny, though, saying that I've been popped less than 3 minutes into the show. Dan, Mags is used to popping off in less than 3 minutes, Scottish Danny. Well, twice, if I'm lucky. Twice, if I'm lucky. So then we've got Dan as well. Got to get him to chain wrestling early to get a good seat. Yep. And he's late, so he'll have to sit at the back in the nosebleeds.
In the bath.
Yeah. And Rob from UTT saying next day curry is fine.
Oh, yeah.
No, next day curry is better than today curry. And Graham saying get the bog rolls ready in the fridge. And Benny wants to know what we thought of Extreme Rules.
I've got no thoughts because I didn't watch it.
So exactly the same. I'm just so turned off by WWE programming recently that I've no interest in watching anything main roster. I mean, the draft might pique my interest a little bit, but I did not want to. I couldn't be bothered with Extreme Rules.
I mean, the thing is as well, it's each to their own. You know, I mean, WWE gets a lot of criticism, obviously, and there's a lot of ill feeling, I suppose, towards the products they put out on a Monday night, especially. It's not for me, but there's plenty of people that it is for. I mean, SmackDown,
absolutely, yeah.
People are enjoying SmackDown. Roman Reigns is doing some great stuff. It's awesome seeing Lesnar back. I'm a big Lesnar fan, and Lesnar Reigns, it intrigues me. That has piqued my interest. But when Extreme Rules came around, I was like, oh, wow, that's this weekend, is it? I didn't even realize. And then I couldn't tell you anything from the card. And then on the day I looked it up and nothing really made me want to watch it. And normally I would still watch the pay-per-view the next day anyway, just out of force of habit, I guess, pop it on in the back, even if it's just on in the background or something. But I didn't even do that this week.
No, it's exactly the same. And when you actually look at the card, and I think there was only one Extreme Rules match. It was a nothing pay-per-view. You could tell that nothing big was going to happen, and then we're going to get the whole like reshuffle with the draft. So it just made no sense. Dan in the chat saying, I don't get the concept of next day curry. It implies that there's some left once you've done. But Dan, what you do is you buy 2 curries.
You buy a lot.
And then you save one for the next day. That's the way you do it. And exactly. Dan agrees with us, saying if no one lost an hour, I don't want to know about Extreme Rules. And
I'm glad I didn't bother then, I suppose.
Sharon, Reigns piques my interest, but that is another story. That's chain wrestling after dark.
After dark, yeah, which might be something in the works for a future time. With we'll have to make sure that we put a big caption on saying 18 only, and so all the youngsters, Charlie, I'm sorry, it might be a bit grown up for you.
Dan, I had factored in ordering 2 curries and still never had it there. Dan, you are amazing. Absolutely.
I feel sorry for your toilet.
Order 3. Order 3.
Order 3, yeah.
It must just flow through him like water.
Yeah. Rusty water.
from a dirty river.
On that note, I suppose, of Extreme Rules, is it time for pay-per-views like that just to be given up on? Because it's very much a PG era, isn't it? It's very much, you're not going to see a bloodbath. You're not going to see a Mick Foley falling from the cage or anything like that. Everything is done, and rightfully so, by the way, because I don't want to see any wrestlers hurt or taking crazy risks for our own entertainment. But is it time then to just be, okay, well, why promote Extreme Rules at all if there's nothing on there that warrants the name Extreme Rules?
Yeah, and I think you can link that to all the other kind of gimmick pay-per-views like Hell in a Cell. You can tell that when it comes to Hell in a Cell, that matches are strong-armed into being a cell match when without the real need for it. Usually a cell match was like the end of a huge blood feud, and when you're getting them every single year, they kind of lose that specialty. But with Extreme Rules, yeah, I think WWE is so PG now that I think that name at least can be retired. I mean, the pay-per-views themselves probably won't get retired because WWE makes so much money from the monthly pay-per-views with the network that they're going to keep happening. But I would just rename it. They've got plenty of names in the bag that they've pay-per-views that they've retired. Why not just bring one of those back and just
Great Balls of Fire?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Stomping Grounds. Bring back Stomping Grounds.
Do you remember when they did, it's funny enough, we're talking about the Great American Bash now. They did Great American Bash for a while, and then they did like 1 year where they literally just called it The Bash.
The Bash, yeah.
I mean, how lazy is that?
Incredibly lazy. Incredibly.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
The amount of money these people are paid to be creative, and they just come up with The Bash. It's just...
I think a lot of it is to do with search engine optimization. If somebody's searching for a WWE pay-per-view, typing Great Balls of Fire or the Great American Bash takes a lot longer than typing in The Bash. And
okay.
That's how it works, yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't even think of that. Look at that. Every day's a school day, isn't
it? Colin McCabe in the chat. Extreme Rules should be named Regular Rules. And Benny agree with us that he's always hated theme pay-per-views, but he said that Finn and Roman was good, the Usos and Street Profits was decent. I mean, you're always going to get great matches with those guys,
yeah.
But it's just they felt like there were no stakes. I mean, no one expected Finn to win. The whole Bloodline storyline is going. We knew that Brock was going to be the next challenger, so it was a nothing pay-per-view.
Yeah, and I suppose you're going to get a lot of those, aren't you, with how many there are in the calendar now? It's not like I suppose back in the day when you had 4 and then 5, I suppose, in '93 when King of the Ring was added.
Yeah,
they were sort of peak. Well, we covered WrestleMania 5 last week, didn't we, Magsy? With Hogan and Savage and the Mega Powers exploding on the sort of year-long storyline arc that they had, going from pay-per-view to pay-per-view, and then the odd Saturday night's main event on television as well, telling this long story. Nowadays, you've got a pay-per-view every couple of weeks. It's just like you can't do that. And I think that really affects the product. I mean, that really sort of waters down some of the storylines because they've got so much airtime to fill. You lose the element of, well, I suppose, the suspense, I guess.
Yeah, and not only that, storylines are over in 3 months maximum. They'll have a match at one pay-per-view. build to a rematch, and then you might get the rubber match at a third pay-per-view. But that storyline's done and dusted in 3 months, and then it's on to the next one. It's so breakneck pace that you can actually understand why Vincent tells Michael Cole to keep repeating stuff over and over again, because if you miss an episode of Raw, you are well behind on the storylines, because they move along so quickly. They don't have any time to breathe. It's too fast paced for me. I enjoyed it when it was 5 pay-per-views, and there's only one person to blame: Bischoff for pushing for 12 pay-per-views.
Bloody hell, Bischoff. Yeah, but to be fair, when WCW did it, what would that have been? 94, 96, they went to 12, I think. I think it was 10 in 94, 95 was 10 with a few Clash of Champions, maybe.
Yeah, on the Monday Night War documentary, I think Bischoff says that WWE went to 5, so they started going to 5. Then WWE went to 7, and he started going to 7, then 10, and then eventually it got to monthly. And now I think WWE actually do something like 16 pay-per-views in a year, which is about 3 weeks per pay-per-view. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. WCW, when they were doing 1 a month, I think they kind of got it right, because they had so much going on anyway. It was such an interesting product. But I mean, you look at the pay-per-view we're going to talk about later on. It's main evented by Paige and Savage. The world title's not on the show.
It's not.
Stuff like that. So it's like the next pay-per-view that would be defended on. And so it's like that kind of worked, I guess. But it's not a sustainable model, is it, for long term? Well, it shows, because they went belly up by 2001. So.
And yeah, but I think the difference between WCW was that they had so many big stars that you could have a pay-per-view level match without needing a title. In WWE now, as much as people love the product, outside that little wrestling sphere, there's not a lot of people who are recognized in the mainstream. So the matches, they don't have that kind of appeal that 97 WCW had.
No, that's right. I suppose it all comes down again to the quality of the product, doesn't it? I guess I wouldn't mind a pay-per-view every 4 weeks if it was worth watching.
Yeah,
I suppose that's what it comes down to.
And Dan said Impact's model is good at the moment. They have a subscription service where they have monthly special shows, but only actually have 4 main pay-per-views a year. And I think that's something that AEW are doing as well. They're not pushing pay-per-view after pay-per-view every single month. It's, what is the 4 or 5 pay-per-views on their
it's
calendar?
5 a year, isn't it?
But it's the weekly show that ends up being the specials, like when they come back to Jacksonville, it's a homecoming, or when they go to a certain city, they make a big hurrah of it. So I like that kind of mindset where we get storylines building to a pay-per-view months down the line, which really makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, Sharon's actually made a really good point there in the chat. If I can bring that up, hang on a second. There we go. How can you build a story if the chase only lasts 3 weeks? And she's spot on.
Exactly.
Absolutely spot on.
And then we've got Graham in the chat saying the person who listens to podcasts at 3 times the speed, me, is complaining about the pace. And Glenn, thanks for joining us. He says that he's replied to Graham saying they must think everyone sounds like chipmunks. Actually, the podcast app I use doesn't change the pitch, so people don't get like high pitched voices. It just increases the speed, so people talking like incredibly fast.
I can't do it. I can't.
It's easy. I can't do 1 time speed now. It hurt my ears to do it today for unbooking the territory.
Okay, well, we'll come to that in a second. I wanted to ask you about that, but before we do, just for those people who do listen at 3 times, I'm going to.
People have played that, done that before.
Really slowly. And now, when we play that back at 3 times, I'm going to say how that sounds.
It's going to sound just normal. I once told Ricky and Clive from the Ricky and Clive show that I listened at 3 times the speed. So with them being Scottish, their accent can sometimes be hard to understand at the best of times. And then Clive spoke really fast on purpose to see if I'd pick it up. Still got it. Still picked out every single word.
Okay, so I have not listened to UTT podcast yet. It is part and parcel of my bus journeys to work now. Bang, bang, UTT, a change in attitude, and so on. UTT is probably tomorrow. I listened to Bang Bang earlier today. But yeah, I was tagged in a tweet saying that I was going to get grief. I don't know what I've done.
So on this week's episode of Unbooking the Territory, they had Chris from Techers and the Clarets Report, basically all things football and wrestling, and they were talking about they have a section where they get the listeners' comments, and I was mentioned. And they have this thing where they say I'm from Padiham, where I'm not from Padiham at all.
Where's that?
So Padiham is a little town that's attached to Burnley, and
okay,
it's rough.
It's but isn't Burnley just a little town that's attached to Blackburn though?
Absolutely fucking not. That's disgusting. I can't believe you've even gone there. You deserve the grief now. You deserve the grief now. But essentially, when I'm coming on there, Dan gives me loads of grief. Then Chris gives me a lot of grief. They called me the Padiham Predator, which is... Yeah, it sounds horrific, but it was actually the nickname for a footballer called Andy Payton because he was a predator in the box.
I saw Andy Payton play for Burnley, mate, away at Cambridge United.
But you say the Padiham Predator now, and it sounds like that I should be on a register.
Yeah, like you were like the Burnley, representative for the BBC or something.
Yes, exactly. So Dan said, "We're only in jest. Don't go around giving Sar grief." So I have given you grief over it. It was your fault that I got grief.
All right, I'll take it. Oh dear. Okay. Well, Maxie, we're already 20 odd minutes in, and we haven't got to our non-wrestling topic yet, mate.
I know, and this was a biggie. This was actually one that I put forward. Normally, when it comes to the non-wrestling topics, Sar's got a Rolodex of great ideas, and he usually throws some out, and we'll pick one between us. But this week, I wanted this one specifically because I've missed out on so many box sets of TV programs, and then last week we were talking about Phoenix Knights and Max and Paddy, and Sar saying that he hasn't caught them. So I wanted a little bit of inspiration and a little bit of a reminding of some good, indifferent, and terrible TV shows that we all enjoy.
Okay, no, well, we can get to that in just a sec then. Before we do, very quickly, I just want to say, I don't know how we're going to deal with this because some of these box sets we're talking about are quite old programs now, but at the same time, people might not have seen them. So I suppose if you're watching this or you're watching a replay back in the week or you're listening to the audio version later in the week, spoiler warning, spoiler alert, I guess, but be a bit cautious.
Absolutely, but I mean, we're not going to deep dive into the whole storylines of the box sets because we got so many good replies that it would be hard to go through all the lot. But yeah, just be careful that if you want to see some of these shows that we might give away some plot details.
Yeah. Okay, so we will start first of all then with our good buddy Ori the Draw on Twitter at Ori the Draw. She responded in lightning quick pace to this. She must have been super excited about this topic, which is great to see. Ori says that she binged 10 seasons of Supernatural in like 15 days. That's a lot of episodes. That's like 23, 24 episodes a season.
So that's like nearly 250 episodes
in 15 days. So what's 250 divided by 15?
So it's like 12 episodes a day minimum.
That's commitment to the cause, that is.
Yeah, it's not even a program I've ever seen. My son's partner, she adores the program, loves it, but it's something that not really my kind of scene, that whole kind of witches and magic and all that stuff. But I mean, 10 seasons in 15 days, that is brutal.
That sounds similar to like me and the wife when we got through Sons of Anarchy in 24. We just like blitzed for it, but we'll come to those shortly, I expect. Ori doesn't give any details here, but she says she loved the show, but definitely wish it ended differently. So I mean, I've seen some episodes of it, and I quite enjoyed what I've seen, but it wasn't something I watched on a regular basis, I guess. You know.
Yeah, well, I've seen 0 of it.
Okay. Well, there's something for you to try, maybe, mate.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Andy at Bang Bang Podcast on Twitter says he loved the first series of True Detective, but the last episode was shite. Now, I've not seen any of this, but everyone who mentions it tells me it's really good.
Again, another one that I've heard of, not had the opportunity to see. That gets way more positive reviews than Supernatural does. So it may be something that gets on my list.
Okay. Are you making a list now?
I've got the tweets up, so I'll
Okay.
definitely scrolling through them.
Okay. At Dan Griffin 21 on Twitter, our good buddy there, Dan, good friend of the show. As far as Netflix originals go, he loved The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor, and he's just started Midnight Mass last night. Programs he couldn't get on with, Peaky Blinders, gave it 4 episodes and did night for him. So but he did, and he even sat through Farscape. So, but I like Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, it's again another show that I didn't catch the first few seasons, so you're kind of out of the loop. But I think it's finished now, and they're doing a film. So it might be
one season left to come in. There's a one season, or like 6 episodes, like a short little mini sort of thing.
Like a mini season.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes I'll tend to like wait for if I've missed a lot of the episodes, I'll wait for the whole thing to wrap up, and then I'll catch up with it. So I'll probably end up doing that with Peaky Blinders. Another one that gets a lot of kind of a Marmite style views. People think it's either absolutely amazing or think it's terrible. So it'll be interesting to see what that's like. As for Haunting of Hill House and the Haunting of Bly Manor, they're brilliant. Especially the Bly Manor one, such a great story.
I'm guessing just by the title, they're a bit spooky.
Yeah, there's a huge twist, if I remember rightly, in the Bly Manor one. Again, I don't want to really give the spoilers away, but yeah, it's supernatural but you don't realize how supernatural it is until you get to the last episode.
Okay, so it's like a big reveal sort of thing. That's quite cool.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll check that out. I won't. I'm too much of a scaredy cat, mate. I can't watch scary things at night. I can't. If I watch something that's a bit creepy, I've got to put on like Family Guy afterwards before I go to bed. Otherwise, I have nightmares.
It's not scary, like as in horror. It's more of a drama than a scary one.
Okay, fair enough. With Peaky Blinders, I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed Peaky Blinders, but I'm not. I don't know. I suppose a bit of a contradiction, really. I enjoyed Peaky Blinders when I was watching it because it's one of those shows that the wife would go to bed. I'd watch a couple of episodes before I went up and so on. But the last series, I've got access to it, or like on the on-demand or Netflix or whatever. I've never actually got around to watching it, so maybe my interest sort of tailed off potentially. I don't know.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, the only bits of Peaky Blinders that I've really seen is when I watched Gogglebox.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of the programs mentioned in the Twitter comments, I've seen bits of them from Gogglebox, and haven't actually watched the proper show.
That's what I've never really got into Gogglebox until very recently. And there's certain people who are on that show that really make me laugh. They crack me up. But the program Vigil that's been on recently,
with the submarine,
yeah, I've not seen any of that apart from what's on Gogglebox, and now I've got spoilers from Gogglebox. It's like I might as well not bother.
Yeah, they give the story away. They certainly do that.
Dan continues. As far as shows I wish ended differently, Game of Thrones. 7 seasons of slow build, intricate stories, and epic battles, and the ending gets shut out in 6 episodes. I've not seen any of Game of Thrones at all.
So for Game of Thrones, I didn't see the first 7 seasons at all. And then we heard that the 8th season and the final season was coming out. So me and the wife binge watched the full 7 seasons over a couple of weeks and really got into it. Like, it was amazing. And then, like Dan said, they absolutely shat out that 8th season, wrapped everything up in as soon as possible. yeah, it was a crap way to go out for that show.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, it's not actually on the suggestions or anything like that, but something I've literally just finished watching this week. Have you ever seen Elementary with?
I have every single episode.
Yeah, the
Johnny
guy who's
Lee
Sick
Miller.
Boy. Is he Sick Boy in Trainspotting?
Yeah, Johnny Lee Miller.
And Lucy Liu, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Now I got into that and I bloody loved it. It was so good, and I had the same feeling when I got to. I've literally just finished watching it this week now. So season 7, I think it is the last one. Is it?
Is that the one where his sister's in it?
No, I don't know.
He essentially moves, doesn't it, to London?
Yeah, for a couple of episodes. Yeah. That was the same feeling to me. It was like it was all this build up with different bits and bobs and a serial killer here and Moriarty and all this sort of stuff. And then it's just like, oh yeah, we're done. We're going to carry on working and that's that. And it's like, all right. And that was the end. And I was like, huh, all right.
Yeah. You can tell sometimes that shows don't have a definitive plan of how they're going to finish, and they just keep getting getting rescheduled, and eventually when they get cancelled, oh yeah, we've got to wrap this up now. How are we going to do it?
Yes, it's funny you mentioned that actually, because we're coming to a show now that was very much like that. Andy from Bang Bang, after his comments on True Detective, also tweeted at the show to say, "Oh, and Quantum Leap was crap." Like,
wow.
No, Andy, we're not going to have any Leap slander at all on this program. I'll tell you that now.
And to counteract that, I'm going to play this.
Cream soda.
Nice. You like cream soda?
Yeah.
You're a delinquent as far as I'm concerned.
I love cream soda, mate, but it's got to be the cheap £1 shit. The good stuff's too sweet.
That makes no sense in itself. Cream soda is rank. I don't know.
It's
not lemonade,
flavor, isn't it? That's all it is.
No, see, now I like vanilla, but I don't like cream soda. It's rank.
Well, then you're the fucking delinquent, ain't you?
That still tickles me every single time.
Cream soda's lush.
You go proper Gloucester as well, though. Well, you're the fucking delinquent, ain't you?
Oh, there we go. What we got going on in the chat there, Magsy?
So we're getting a lot of talking between themselves, as our chat tend to do.
Ideas for shows and stuff for you, I think, mate.
Talking about American Horror Story, again, another show that my two boys absolutely adore, and I've just never got around to watching it. Dan's saying he's actually ashamed that he hasn't got around to watch it. Graham wants to know what I think of the Air Bud film series. I've never watched. Who wants to watch a film about a dog playing basketball? Nobody does.
I don't know what that is.
So Air Bud is a dog. It's essentially, I think it's like a border collie, something like that. And he's amazing at all these different kinds of sports, like football, hockey.
Right. What, like a real dog, or is it like a cartoon?
No, it's like it's a real dog. He's not really good at basketball, I don't think, unless he's
just a good actor.
Yeah, he's Mr. Perfect. He's the Mr. Perfect of the dog world.
Oh, the dog's name's Kurt. Yeah.
And Sharon saying that she keeps telling you that you should watch American Horror Story, and you just ignore her.
Just ignore that one, Max.
I mean, we can mute her if you like.
We'll get around to watching it. Yeah, we'll get around to watching it. I'm probably just gonna be too scared, though, aren't I? That's the problem. Chris at MillwallChris1 on Twitter. Always loved 24. Oh, I can get on board with this 100%. Always loved 24, no matter how ridiculous it got. His wife used to say, "Has Jack's daughter been kidnapped again?" Cobra Kai is great if you enjoyed the original Karate Kid films. He also enjoyed Manifest and Money Heist, and of course Heels. Now, I've not seen any of Manifest, Money Heist, or Heels, or Cobra Kai, but 24 I did enjoy.
Yeah, 24 is really good. Money Heist is one that's been on my Netflix list to watch, and I just haven't got around to it. Cobra Kai, yeah, I really enjoyed the Karate Kid films, and I don't want to watch it if it kind of sullies that kind of view of Karate Kid. So I've been avoiding it. I will eventually get around to it though.
Thing is Karate Kid one of those things that if you watch back now, it's going to be shite, like the 18?
Don't listen. You're getting on my very last nerve today, sir. Already. How dare you?
No, honestly, the 18. I've got such fond memories of the 18, but you watch it back now and it's a bit like, okay.
No, it is not.
Is it not?
Absolutely. Listen, he loves it when a plan comes together.
He does.
When he get locked in a shed with a load of pipes and a crowbar, and you can make a tank. Yeah. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing.
He'd come out with some sort of helicopter made from toilet rolls and paper clips or something. Yeah.
It's Art Attack for adults, essentially.
That's right, with guns. Millwall Chris continues a list of things that obviously he's not too fond of. Sopranos, crap. Game of Thrones, crap.
Last season, yeah.
Breaking Bad, crap.
Wrong.
Sons of Anarchy, crap.
Never watched it.
Peaky Blinders, crap. Okay, so Sopranos I enjoyed. That was quite good.
The film's coming out soon.
Yeah, I mean it's not my favorite, but it was enough there to keep me going back and watching more. Game of Thrones I never watched. Breaking Bad, it was just so slow for me.
No,
you'd have to wait 3 episodes for something to happen.
It may be the most perfectly told TV program that's ever been. The details and the Easter eggs in that program, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it, but it just felt quite slow paced. But then I not long finished watching 24, so maybe
everything is solved in an hour.
Yeah, so yeah, Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy is fantastic. I bloody love Sons of Anarchy, and there you go, Magsy. That's a show that you would love. I bet you'd really enjoy that.
Yeah, it's
first season's a little bit, but you get through that. But it's worth it, mate.
Yeah, I've always kind of like when it pops up on my Netflix feed, like, I might give it a try, and then I see how many seasons of it, and I think I ain't got the time. I don't want to get into it if I haven't got the time to.
Can you watch it on times 3?
You can't, unfortunately. That'd be amazing if you could.
How quick would their motorbikes be going then? They'd be taking a drag. They try to look all badass at the bar, take a drag of their cigarette, and just like straight down. No, Sons of Anarchy is awesome. Brilliant soundtrack as well. Absolutely fantastic soundtrack. And Peaky Blinders again. I thought Peaky Blinders was all right, but I've not finished it, so maybe that says something. Yes. At UTT Rob, our good buddy Rob on Twitter. Vigil, Line of Duty, and The Americans were all really bingeable recent TV series. I've not seen any of those, but my sister tells me Line of Duty is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it through Gogglebox, so I know the storyline. Same with Vigil. The Americans, I don't even think I've even heard of the Americans.
No, I don't.
So that'll be interesting to check on. He does give Scott Bakula some grief, though.
He does. He says to fit in with size, my new project. Star Trek Enterprise final series wasn't great. Scott Bakula, who was far too moralistic in Quantum Leap, turned into far too much of an ass in Enterprise. I guess he said that's 4 letters. It could be the C word, couldn't it, I suppose?
Yeah, I thought it was the C. That's.
So why did my mind straight away read ass then?
I don't know. Maybe you're just too innocent.
Maybe. I don't mind him criticising Scott Bakula for Star Trek Enterprise. I've never seen it. But we'll have no Quantum Leap on Sam Beckett slander.
Don't make me play the video again.
Millwall Chris also says he forgot about Homeland. Loved that. I thought the ending was pretty decent. Now, Homeland, I watched the first couple of seasons, thought it was really good. But again, just kind of lost interest.
I didn't. I loved it. Every single season of it was really good. I thought again that's another really well told story. I think they dragged out. Maybe there were a couple of seasons that we didn't really need, and it was kind of filler. But the whole story of Carrie and her dealing with her mental illness, but still being like this undercover kind of CIA agent in the middle of essentially world wars. I thought that's a brilliant story.
See, I get my hair off when it gets too much about, like, this is gonna sound silly, when it gets too much about like the characters themselves. Do you know what I mean? So I watch certain TV shows and like cop shows or whatever, I guess. I enjoy that, them catching the bad guy. You got your case each week, and it's almost like a who's done it sort of thing, you know. And then after a season or two, they start falling in love, and you find out about their kids. I don't want all that shit, man.
You want the action. That's
Yeah,
all. That's why you love 24.
Yeah, exactly. Just go to work, catch the bad guy, and then I'll watch the next episode. That's sound.
Yeah.
Not all this. Oh, you know, me and my wife are going through a tough time. I don't care. You know, I don't care. I don't care if you're falling out with your family because you're, off chasing bad guys all the time. That's what your job is.
Yeah, the president's daughter ain't going to save herself.
Exactly. Crack on. There you go, mate. There you go. So we got a few others here as well, Magsy. We got Anya in the chat here saying NCIS is good, but only the first 4 or 5 seasons. Now, I tried to get into that, and I watched the first maybe 2 seasons, and I did enjoy it. Again, I don't know why I carried on. Didn't carry on, sorry.
Yeah, NCIS, is that the one that's about the Navy?
Yeah, I think so.
I've read a story not long ago where the main actor on it is a bit of a dickhead, like in real life. And the person who created the show and the director, he essentially forced them off the show. And he had a lot of falling outs with a lot of his co-stars to the show, where they ended up getting killed off because he had a problem with them.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Connor in the chat as well. He forgot to add Law and Order SVU. Again, I don't mind that. That's all right. That's quite good. But again, that was one of those it was good when it was Benson and Stabler with Ice-T and the old dude all going out to catch bad guys, you know. That was good. Now it's all about her kid and it's fuck off. You know, it's
fuck your kids, essentially.
Well, no, hang on. No, I ain't about all that, mate. It's just like go catch the bad guys, isn't it?
You're an all action kind of guy.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. There was one that popped in my head then, but it's gone, so we'll carry on with Twitter instead. At Scottish Juggalo, sorry, on Twitter. Danny, oh, hello.
Sa wants shooty bang bang explosions.
Yeah,
that sounds pretty true.
Exactly. Danny, heard Danny on Bang Bang this morning, Bang Bang podcast. Great stuff to see Danny out there on podcast, getting involved and so on. That's always good. Yep. Didn't sound quite like I expected. I thought he was going to come across more Rabsy Nesbitt than what we got.
Oh wow!
But
yeah, he does explain why he doesn't have a Scottish accent. So there is that. But yeah, I understand what you mean. When your name is at the Scottish Juggalo, and you're on YouTube as Scottish Danny, and then you sound like you're from Kent, there's a bit of a disconnect there. But it's great. It's great to hear him doing the rounds on shows. Yeah, great fun.
Yeah, really, really. It's obvious as well that he takes it seriously. He's done some research for going on these shows and so on because he's fully clued up on what he's talking about. It's great to hear. So yeah, keep it up, Danny. Really enjoyed it, mate. Really enjoyed it.
And what really kind of plucked at my heartstrings was how much he really shouted out the show, and he's done it all this week all over Twitter, really kind of putting us and Chain Wrestling over. I really do appreciate that. And same with Handy T1 TF. Apologies for getting your name wrong, but yeah, the support from all you guys it blows us away every single week. We honestly think that one day we're just going to turn up and nobody's watching and no one gives a shit, because it's like living in a dream that you all really have took this show to your heart, and we really do appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. It's fantastic. I mean, the people involved when we're live like this, the people who rewatch the show because the views go up during the week as well, which is great to
Mhm.
see. And then when the audio version comes out, that's doing great stuff as well. So honestly,
It
it's
really is.
absolutely fantastic. It really is. It's so good. I just echo what Magsy says. We really appreciate it.
Mhm.
And that's exactly it, Sharon. That's spot on. Sharon in the chat there saying Criminal Minds was amazing. That's the one I thought about and then straight away forgot about again. But that's the one, yeah. Criminal Minds. That is so good.
Mhm. Never watched it.
Absolutely. Oh, Magsy, you'll enjoy that, mate. You'd really enjoy that. That's good.
I'm going to need about 5 months of just binging all these amazing programs.
And Sharon, my wife, also there says The Mentalist, and that was the last season was a bit crap. I'm not gonna lie, but the rest of it was really good. The Mental, he's a TV psychic, so he's obviously not really psychic; it's all fake.
Okay.
Who goads a serial killer on TV, and the serial killer kills his wife and kid. So he then starts working for the police to help try and catch this serial killer. But not every case is about that particular killer. He's got to help them with other cases as well to get access to that file, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But he's been a TV psychic and a bit of a con man. Excuse me, sorry, a bit of a con man. He can like read people really well and body language and if they're lying and all that sort. It's really good, really, really good show. That's well worth a watch. Bang Bang Podcast UK. UK, is there one elsewhere in the world?
Yeah, he's going international.
Yeah. Oh, he's big time in us now. Look at that.
He is big time. I know why he's done that. It's because he's put Bang Bang Podcast as one name, and on YouTube you have to have a second name. So he just added UK.
I get you. Yeah, I get you. He says here, Andy, has anyone suggested Prisoner at Cell Block H yet? They have not. They have not.
And so going on to that, one of the things that I want to get for the wife, and I've been looking for about a decade almost, is a box set of every single episode of Prisoner Cell Block H, and I think there's about 600 episodes or something like that. And they only actually released a full box set of it in Australia. So in the UK, you can get that box sets of each season.
Right.
Or like parts of a season because there's just tons and tons of episodes. But to get one from Australia, it's like about 800 quid to
Why?
just. Yeah, but she adores Prisoner Cell Block H.
It's not still going, is it?
No. Well, Wentworth was like a revamp of it. I don't know if that's still even going.
I don't know. I remember watching it like back in the day because you had 4 channels and there was fuck all else on. You know.
and if you were good, you got to stay up to watch because it ran at like stupid o'clock at night.
Yeah, that's it. Getting back to Danny's tweet, he says, "Bottom. Once I stick on one episode, he has to watch at least 5 or 6."
Mm-hmm.
He also says Manhunt and True Detective. Now, Manhunt is quite a recent one, isn't it? And it's got the fella from Men Behaving Badly in it. What's his name? Martin Clunes.
Martin Clunes.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one.
Well,
I was thinking of a different show.
it. Oh, it might be. No, Manhunt's the one. I think it is.
Could be.
I saw adverts for it very recently. Thought that looks really good. Went on the little box thing to have a look, and it was actually season 2. So I've got to go back and watch season 1 first. But yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, I was thinking of a different show called Manhunter.
Yeah, that's it. Kicking It with Connor at Kicking It Soccer on Twitter. The Sopranos. He finished 6 seasons in about 4 months. Yeah, see, it's one of those programs. Same as 24. I find 24 quite lethal like that. You watch one episode, you end up watching 4 or 5.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's that the double-edged sword of when episodes all drop at once. I mean, when you used to you had to wait for next week's episode. Now with like Netflix and Amazon Prime, and you just get all the lot at once. So you're like, I can spare another 45 minutes. Let's watch the next one. And by the time you finish, you've watched like 12 episodes, and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I used to phone in sick when I was watching 24 to work because it got that obsessive with us. Like, I hated my job anyway, mate. But
and you're thinking of Doc Martin, sir. He's not a detective.
No, Martin Clunes is in this man. I swear he is. Am I just getting it completely wrong? I swear he is. Chris continues.
Clunes, yeah, it is Martin Clunes.
There you go. See, yeah. I've not watched Doc Martin. None of that. Was that any good?
Never watched it.
No. Okay. This is fantastic audio.
No, like I said at the beginning, I did this. One of the main reasons was to get some advice on what box sets I should be watching.
Okay, so you've hijacked one of the topics for the show for your own selfish needs.
Pretty much. Is that not what we always do on this show?
Yeah, kinda. Millwall Chris again here on Twitter. He's assuming he doesn't need to name the obvious, like Only Fools and Horses, The Young Ones, Faulty Towers, etc. Also, a TV series called Alcatraz, which was axed after one season, just as it was getting good.
So good. That was
See that
so
again.
good.
That again as well. I don't know if it's on Netflix or on the on-demand thingy on Sky or whatever. But I looked at that and I thought that looks fantastic.
It was
Googled
fantastic.
it and then it said it was cancelled, so I ain't bothered.
After
Is it worth
one
it?
season as well. Yeah. I mean, the show itself was absolutely brilliant. The fact it got cancelled after one season, especially when they built and they were showing the kind of the next level of the story ready for season 2, and then said, "Yeah, we're not going to get a season 2." That was a kick in the nuts. But yeah, it was such a great show. I think Tommy Lee Jones was the main star in it, and yeah, it was so damn good.
Okay.
But it's worth a watch if you can get hold of it. It's well worth a watch.
Just doesn't have an ending. That sucks though.
No,
doesn't it?
the first season has an ending,
right.
but then there's like a cliffhanger almost. Well, not even a tease for what the second season is going to be about. You just don't get that.
Okay. Well, that's a shame. Speaking of handy T1TF that we mentioned earlier on, good friend of the show there. He says the show he binged the most was Merlin. I didn't really get into that.
Like as in The Magician. Nope, never watched it.
No, I didn't really get into that. I know my parents really enjoyed it. He didn't really get Doom Patrol. Again, I'm not too familiar with that one.
No, never heard of that as well.
No. But yeah, Merlin, I think it was on the BBC and it was quite spectacular visually. You know, and I remember catching parts of it and thinking this is really good, but never actually watching the whole thing, like, you know. But yeah, there we go. MGB Graham at MGB Graham on Twitter. Rewatched a lot of stuff over COVID, but Fringe is a good show. I've not seen that.
Nope, it's another one that I've not seen. So
Add it to your list, Mags.
it's definitely going on the list.
And Graham also says he's just watched season 5 of the A-Team. No proper finish at all. Very disappointing. Okay.
That's a bad take. So
Is that it now? Is this what we've been reduced to on the show? You're literally gonna sit there and go, not seen it, bad take, you're wrong, not seen it. That's it, is it?
Graham's not normally wrong, but when he's saying that the A-Team is disappointed, then he's wrong. There's no two ways about it.
Okay. All the way from Australia, our good buddy on the other side of the world, Mr. Mangle, at Mangle_Chris. Prison Break. The original probably should have ended sooner, but he really enjoyed Prison Break. I loved Prison Break as well, but again, probably did go on too long. Did you watch any of that one, Magsy?
I vaguely remember watching the first season. It's the one where he has a map of the prison tattooed on his back.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, really good.
And then he breaks back into prison, and then breaks back out of prison. Yeah, it's gets a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, the first series when they're breaking out is fantastic. The second series, spoiler alert, people now, when they've broken out, that's quite good as well because you've been waiting for the whole first season to see them get out. After that, it starts getting a bit daft. But the concept's really, and like I said, the first series was planning to try and break out of this prison and so on. That's really good. I did enjoy that. The Interstate Wrestling Podcast at IS WrestlePod on Twitter says there's many to name, but standouts for him include Breaking Bad again.
Good.
Another shout for that one. The reboot of Battlestar Galactica.
Never seen any.
No,
I remember
the original.
I remember the original with the guy from A-Team, Face from the A-Team.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I haven't. I saw the trailer for the reboot, but I never watched any of the episodes.
Right. Okay. 6 Feet Under.
Nope,
seen
never
that one.
seen that. Nope.
And Sopranos. But he also loved the US Office after it took a life of its own and grew its own legs. Yeah, I found that the same. I really enjoyed the US Office the more I watched it.
Mhm.
And the UK version, he says here, is amazing. But again, I enjoyed the UK version as well. So.
Yeah. And I think that's why I can't get into the US one, because I love the UK version so much. I think it's such a clever kind of twist on documentaries that I just couldn't vibe with the US version. I should really give it another chance, but your missus is wrong on every level there, saying that the US office is much better than the UK one. Absolutely not at all.
The US Office is when you give it a go and you get past the first couple of, because the first series or so, they're doing very similar episodes to the UK version, aren't they?
Yeah.
When you get past that, it's very good. It really is. It really is funny. Sharon doesn't like Ricky Gervais at all either,
Well,
so that's probably
she's wrong.
There you go. We have Benny in the chat saying the remake of Battlestar was awesome. I might have to check that out then, because I remember watching the series when I was younger, the original series. So I might have to check that out. Andy Bang Bang podcast as well. The Battlestar remake was good. Naff ending though. So yeah, it seems to be a lot of these shows that sort of get to the end and they don't know what to do they?
Yeah. I mean, one that got mentioned on Twitter was Lost, and I thought that for the first 2 or 3 seasons was some of the best TV that's ever been made, and then they didn't have an end game. They just kept adding twists and plot devices, and it ended up being nonsensical, which really kind of ruins the whole show, because it's not something you can go back now and binge watch, because you know how terrible that ending is. So
it's actually the very next tweet in the list we're working through magazine. It's from our good mate Stevo at Total Stevo on Twitter. He says, because of you mentioning it, Si, I gave Lost a go. Season 1 and 2 were fantastic. Season 3 was meh. 4 was okay. Is there a difference between meh and okay?
I think meh is just a bit over okay.
Okay. Right. 5 meh. 5 was enjoyable. 6 was awful. The ending was shit. Had so much potential. Just felt, yeah, totally. And it was one of those things where I was watching it and I got really into Lost. But again, it's one of those programs we watched when it had already finished. So everyone was telling me the ending is shit. So I was prepared for the ending being rubbish, but I still got fully invested into this program. And then when we got to the ending, it was literally, I just sat, my wife just started laughing. She just started laughing. It was so ridiculous. And I just kind of sat there looking at the telly like, I don't really know what to think of that.
Yeah. And again, it's one of those TV shows that I actually think they probably had a definitive end for it, but because it took on a life of its own and it was so huge, the TV company said, "No, we want more of this. You've got to stretch this out." And then they started adding ridiculous stories. I mean, the fucking smoke monster, that was awful, absolutely awful. But yeah, it was ruined because it got so big, I think.
Yeah, that's fair enough. We got Millwall Chris in the chat here as well. Hi, Chris. How you doing, mate?
Hello, sir.
He says,
I assume you've never heard of Quantum Leap.
No,
never heard of it.
New. Is it worth checking out? Quantum Leap is, and again, spoiler alert, I guess, but I'm not going to go into too many details, okay? Because there are people telling me they've never seen the show and they're going to follow along with us when Waiting Room starts coming out, and very, very soon, in the next week or two, I believe it's going to be there on the network, on Radio Tickers, ready to go. The ending is brilliant in one way, but kind of sucks in the other way. And it is a case of they were just told, same as some of these other programs, you're not getting another season, so they had to quickly wrap it up. And it's a shame. It's a real shame. But we'll get to that on an episode of The Waiting Room, no doubt. Steve-O continues. Other than that, he's more of a sitcom man. Started rewatching Peep Show again.
Yes.
I do enjoy Peep Show. That is great.
Peep Show is so good. Peep Show and RT Crowd are two of the best British comedies that have been made.
Yeah. Black Mirror. Most episodes were excellent.
Yeah, this is where I take umbrage with Steve-O. I normally agree with him pretty much wholeheartedly. But Black Mirror, I think every single episode is so intelligently done. Charlie Brooker, the writer, is such a clever guy. I love how close to the bone it is in terms of how technology could really change our lives, and not always for the better.
Yeah, there was another one as well. Because I always get the two names confused, but I can't remember it now. It was not Black Mirror; it was something else, and it was about a girl who was cloned and so on. Oh, that'll come to me later on. We'll probably be talking about Darren Dallas Page. You'll just pop in my head and I'll shout it out. But
that was the show.
That was fantastic. If anyone can remember this, it's a lass who finds out that she has been cloned as part of a government project, and she plays God knows how many different roles in the show.
Orphan Black.
Orphan Black, that's it. Yeah. Oh, that is so good. Have you seen that one, Magsy?
No.
Watch that. There you go. That is amazing. It's got a good ending. It's got plot twists that make sense. It is superb, and the lass in it is brilliant as well, because she plays so many different characters, because these are all her clones, and she's also, not hard work to look at, which I think always helps. At the Matatat UK on Twitter, he's binge watched so many series over the last 18 months. Clarkson's Farm on Prime is very good. I've seen a lot of people talking about that, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, I went off Clarkson due to just how much of a goon he started being. He started like being a caricature of himself.
Right.
But yeah, I've heard good things about Clarkson's Farm, and not something I've watched yet though.
Yeah. Currently binging season 5 of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Ironically, having spent 20 years ridiculing Trekkies. Oh, okay.
Well, you reap what you sow, Matt. You reap what you saw. I'm definitely not a Trekker. It's not Star Trek is not something that really, especially the TV programs, they don't really interest me. The films are good, but not so much the TV programs.
Okay. Pre-lockdown, he watched Fuller House. Don't know what that is.
I'm assuming it's Full House, but with more people in it.
Yeah. Just sort of everyone's squidged against the wall where they can't, because it's too full. House, that's the Doctor program, isn't it? That's supposed to be quite good.
Yeah.
Buffy, I enjoyed Buffy when it was the sort of on its first run. Watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, that was quite good.
Yeah, it was all right.
It was very much of its time. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, Angel as well. He's put here.
That's the follow-up, isn't it?
Yeah. So I quite enjoyed that. And lastly, from Twitter, before we dive back into the chat and have a little look there, we have asking_architects at Dan, not Daniel, on Twitter. Being Human, the last 3 series, Misfits. Sorry, Being Human, the last 3 series, Misfits, all the series, Friday Night Dinner.
Friday Night Dinner is a banger.
Yeah, that's great. Gavin and Stacey, Peep Show, Mandine, Breaking Bad, Bad Girls. Bad Girls I've never seen.
Is that the prison one?
Yeah, I think so.
And it had Shirley from EastEnders in it. Oh, that's a great show.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not seen that one. Mandine's good. That's quite funny.
Never seen it. I've heard good things about it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, I don't mind that. That's quite good. And obviously Friday Night Dinner and Gavin and Stacey I quite enjoy as well. So yeah, there we go. That's everybody from Twitter who's messaged into the show with your takes on TV box sets, programs to binge or avoid.
You've given me a hell of a lot of food for thought. I'll definitely be checking out some of these shows, absolutely for sure. In the chat, they've still got some more mentioned. A lot of conversation about V. Is that the one with the aliens?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
I think Sharon and Bang Bang Andy were talking about V in the chat, weren't they? Is that right? It's about aliens and stuff? I'm not sure. They'll probably tell us in there.
I'm sure they will. Anya agrees with Clarkson's Farm. Sharon says that Star Trek Next Gen is the best. Okay. Dan saying that House was ace. Millwall Chris saying that Angel was decent. Sharon agreeing with me that Bad Girls was awesome, and saying Footballers' Wives as well.
That is the sort of crap that she'd watch.
Nip Tuck. I did used to watch Dream Team. That was good on Sky.
Harchester United, is that
Harchester
the
United,
purple kit?
the purple kit. That was a banging show with Jerry Block as the owner. And Sharon is confirming that V is about aliens.
Yeah.
So, Sal, what box sets do you want to throw in for people to check out?
24 is one that most people have probably seen, but I bloody loved it so much. I'd happily go back and watch it again now from the start. I really enjoyed 24. There's only one Carl Fletcher from UTT, Rob. Yeah, I remember that. Sharon and I watched Person of Interest. I really, really enjoyed that show. That was fantastic. That was really good. I'll be honest, now you've mentioned it, Orphan Black is the one for me, Maxie. If you wanted to check something out, I think that's like 4 seasons, maybe 5, maybe. That Orphan Black, I really, really enjoyed that. It was so good.
Yeah, again, it's definitely gone on the list. I mean, I've heard of the show. It's not a show that I'm totally unaware of, but it's not one I've really got into. So yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, it was excellent. Yeah, and Quantum Leap, obviously. So goes right saying that. Don't slander Quantum Leap in the chat, please, Andy. I know you're tempted.
I mean, he's got the ban hammer ready for people who slay Quantum Leap.
You say that, I don't know how to do it. So you can say what you like. You'll get away with it because I don't know how to kick people out or anything. I just sit here reading what they're saying. Magsy's in charge of all that.
Wow.
What about you, Mags? Have you got any that you want to suggest, or any that people have suggested here that have piqued your interest that you might go and check out?
There's a plenty that have piqued me interest, and I'm going to be checking out quite a few. Some that I would throw out for other people. Alcatraz, I think that's absolutely brilliant. That was a great shout.
I'm gonna. Now you've said that, Mags. Now you said it's worth it, even though it ended the way it did. I'm gonna.
Blind Spot is another great show.
Okay.
Have you heard of that one?
Is that the woman who gets found in a park and she's got tattoos or something?
Yeah, essentially, she has amnesia, and the tattoos are all clues to crimes, and eventually they find out who she is and what she was. Basically, had a memory wipe for. Great show. Then Manhunter, one that I confused with Manhunter. That's an American kind of a crime thriller, but it's based in a lot of real life. They talk to some like real life serial killers in the show. Obviously, not the actual serial killers, but it's based like in with the interweave with real life stories to try and get a book of how to deal with serial killers. And how to combat them. Then there's the Man in the High Castle, which is a kind of like a war epic. Essentially, it's what would have happened if Germany and Japan had won World War II, and the kind of the life we would be living. That's a really good show. It gets a little bit weird with a bit of time traveling, but it's still.
I love a bit of time traveling, Mags.
Yeah, so that's a great show to watch. I'm sure there'll be others that'll come to me once I've not really kind of focused on it. But yeah, that's there's a few there for you to pick at.
Oh, Travelers, that's a good one.
Never heard of it. Humans, that's a good one.
Oh, not sin.
That's with the robots who look like humans.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think I've seen adverts of that. Mm-hmm. Travelers is the guy from Will and Grace who plays Will, and they are from the future, and they're trying to solve a big problem in our time that affects things going to shit in the future. And the way they do that is when somebody in our time dies, in the future their subconscious is sent back to take over that person's body like the second after they die.
Okay.
So for example, I'll call him Will Truman because that's his name in Will and Grace, but that's not really his name in this program. I can't remember. But Will Truman.
Can't remember.
Will Truman is an FBI agent. His subconscious is sent back into the body of this FBI agent to fulfill his missions in the past. So he has to carry on. In the real timeline, that person should be dead, but he's kept him alive. and he has to pretend he is that person with his wife and his job and still fulfill the missions. But there's a team of like 5 or 6 of them working together, and that is absolutely brilliant. That is so good. It's finished now. They made 2 seasons of it. It's on Netflix, and it is absolutely fantastic, Max. It's so good.
Sounds good. Yeah, another one to add to my list.
Yeah, you're gonna have to retire from podcasting, mate. You got too much telly to watch.
Yeah, essentially.
Thank you so much, everybody who
Yeah,
has tweeted in, messaged us, been involved in the chat, got just interacted in any way, shape, or form for this non-wrestling topic today. It has been a huge one. I mean, we're already an hour and 10 minutes into the show. We haven't even talked any wrestling yet properly.
No.
So absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody, for getting involved. At @chain_wrestling on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter if you want to get involved in future topics. Mags, I suppose now is the time to talk a little wrestling, I guess.
I suppose it is. So let's
get ready to rumble!
And that's actually very apropos because Michael Buffer was actually on this show.
He was, and I think Randy Savage is in Ready to Rumble. So there you go. Look at that, eh? Some random late WCW knowledge. Maxie, I'm on a bit of a roll, mate.
Well, let's not talk about that, sir.
I won the poll again, so thank you so much to everybody who voted. We are heading back today to the Great American Bash 1997 to see the main event from that show. It's not a world title match or a title match in any way, shape, or form. It's literally just a grudge match between Diamond Dallas Page and Macho Man Randy Savage. Savage is full-blown black and white macho madness at this point in his career. He has been taken in with the NWO, and Page is... This is before Sting has made his proper return, his proper comeback. We've seen him, I think, a few times, but nothing concrete or solid yet because it's not, Starrcade happens in December. Page is... It feels like in WCW at this time, Diamond Dallas Page is kind of facing it's a one-man crusade to stop the NWO invasion. And it kind of leads us to this grudge match here after the NWO and Savage spray paint Kimberly and so on, and build this feud. They've had a few other matches previously, and it builds to this, which is announced as being non-sanctioned, no DQ, falls count anywhere, lights out. So I'm not sure how many more ways they can explain that it's going to be a bit,
no rules. This is extreme rules. Actually extreme. There
we go. Max, have you seen this before, or is it? When was the last time you watched it? Or
I haven't seen this match at all. I mean, I know vaguely the storylines. As you are fully aware, WCW was not my thing back in this time, and I have gone back and watched some of the stuff, but this isn't one of the matches that I've gone back and watched. But I do know the storyline of Page and his like you said, one man crusade to rid the company of NWO.
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite moments looking back is when they tried to get Page to join the NWO. I think it's on a Nitro, and they're all there and they're handing him the shirt, and it looks like he's taking the shirt, and everyone's booing, and he looks like he's getting involved, and then he throws the shirt away, hits Scott Hall with an RKO, and the crowd go absolutely batshit crazy. And this to me, this year and this time period and these matches with Savage is really a coming out party for Diamond Dallas Page, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he was very late to wrestling. I remember listening to an interview with him, and he didn't start really getting into wrestling until like his 30s. So for him to be such a huge star, it was essentially the people's champion on WCW, just like The Rock was on WWE. So it's good to see him really kind of. He was one of the people. He became a wrestler because it was a dream of his, and it's cool to see him main eventing pay-per-views. It's really good.
Yeah, and the praise he gives Randy Savage from this time period as well. There's an interview that I watched online before coming on the show today about, and it's Page talking about Savage and this time frame, and he said a year before this, maybe Savage took him to one side and said, "You're doing too much. You've got the hat, the glittery jacket, the cigar, the sunglasses. You've got too many gimmicks going on. You really need to strip it back." And then when he did, Savage then went to Arn Anderson, who was an agent, and Eric Bischoff, and said, "I want to work with this guy." And it basically, the feud elevated Page into the main event picture. And he's hugely grateful to Savage for that. I mean, he's 41 here, I believe, at this stage, Diamond Dallas Page, which is incredible, really.
That's 41. 41 this, and look how Page looked there. Yeah, that's amazing. He's almost talented. I mean, even now he looks 40, if that, and the guy's like mid 60s. It's phenomenal. The guy is a vampire. He's got to be a vampire.
Yeah, that's it, mate. That's it. It is insane. That's what I guess yoga does you some good, man. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it must do, because so many people do it. I just don't fancy it. I love the entrance way we see here, because it's a pay-per-view entrance. It's got the Great American Bash sign hanging from the ceiling. It's got the multiple screens making up one big screen, which is what they used to do back in the day, wasn't it? Rather than having one massive screen like we have now. Yeah. And then a few fireworks going off and a couple of a sort of big curtain banner style things hanging down. It's not too overstated and too over the top, which sometimes you get now, but it's different enough from Nitro to look like it's a special occasion.
Yeah, it's very understated.
Yeah, I thought that was great. The fireworks going off, and it scans across the crowd as Page makes his entrance. And there's a guy with what looks like he's bought like a tea tray from home with DDP just painted on it. It's like,
and we'll see that later in the show.
Yeah. But at the time, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, did you just not have any card or something? Did you just look around that? I've got nothing to make a sign with. I'm a big Page fan. I want to support my man. I'll tell you what, just knocks all the coffee mugs away. That'll do. I'm taking this.
It's almost like it was a plant.
No. That implies that WCW were like, forward thinkers in some way, shape, or form. That definitely was not the case.
But before we even get to the match, though, how good did Elizabeth look? She looked phenomenal, and Kimberly as well. She absolutely looked amazing. Two really cool looking valets there. Such a stark contrast with Liz from WCW and Liz from the WWF, where she was like the lady of WWF, the first lady, and then here she looks like a vixen almost. It's really kind of a very different.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so NWO Liz, she's got a bit of a sort of, I suppose, naturally, because she's supposed to be a heel, she's got a bit more of a heel edge to her. Yeah, she looks fantastic, doesn't she?
But even going down to the ring, though, everybody loved her, and she's there smiling and waving, and she's meant to be the heel in this, or one of the heels in this story, and people just absolutely adored her. It was really good seeing it. It's sad that she was taken way too early. Yeah,
and the way she went as well is hideous, isn't it? Yeah, it's again another victim of the wrestling business, I suppose, to drugs and excess, which is a big shame. She's also, quite early on, used as a human shield by Randy Savage, isn't she?
Kind of like how it was last week. With Savage. He's not afraid of putting his missus in the firing line to protect himself. But I actually thought the beginning of this match was really well done, with Kimberly coming out and essentially distracting Savage. Page to slip under the bottom rope behind him and start the full on attack. And one thing about Page that I always chuckle at is he's got permanent rib injuries. Every time
Yeah.
you see him wrestling, he's always got a rib injury, but he never tapes his ribs up. It's always around his waist.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've got a note about that actually, the tape that's, and also it's something that my wife Sharon jokes about with me quite a bit as well. Like when you saw Lesnar for a while, had his ribs taped, didn't he? What was that, back in 2003? He had quite a long-term thing there. And I think it was one of the Young Bucks had their back taped in a similar way.
Yeah.
What does that do?
Yeah.
It does nothing. It's just tape around your body. It does nothing.
It doesn't provide any support.
Nah. You might as well just have a big neon sign saying, "Hey, mate, kick me here."
And Savage does.
Yeah,
Savage
exactly.
kicks him there a hell of a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this match, to be fair, a lot goes on. Well, I say a lot. It's full of action, but it's all quite simplistic, I guess, because it is that the nature of the beast is that it's this unsanctioned, no DQ match. So it's a lot of brawling. It's quite chaotic.
Yeah, it's very stripped back. I mean, you do see Page does the kind of a plancher over the top rope, which injures his ribs. I mean, Dusty on commentary is brilliant. That why would you do a move that you've never done before with the injury that you've got? That was just ridiculous, Page. But yeah, it's a brawl. It's exactly what this storyline called for. There was no kind of a real chain wrestling. I mean, there was one bit at the very early where we saw a little bit of a back and forth, and then it ends with Page doing a clothesline. But this was a brawl. It was two people who hated each other's guts.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't go very long either, does it? For a big grudge match and the main event of the pay-per-view, we're looking at roughly quarter of an hour, I suppose.
And yet in that quarter of an hour, they go into the crowd twice, I think.
Yeah.
They go to almost out the kind of entrance to a VIP picnic area, which was weird because they put AstroTurf down and some park benches.
If nobody's seen this, that's exactly right, Magsy. It's so. Tony Schiavone on commentary says this is a VIP section where they're having a picnic
and a barbecue. There's a fucking barbecue there
indoors on this AstroTurf. It's like literally a raised section, maybe a foot high, if that.
It's a decking. Someone's built a decking.
Yeah, and you've got like the old fashioned, or I suppose not even old fashioned, they're still used now, aren't they? Sort of picnic style wooden benches, and a couple of bowls with bits and bobs of fruit in on the thing. And he's going, "This is for our VIPs." If I was a VIP, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, "Why am I sat here with these little?"
I paid $1,000 for this.
Yeah, I can't see the ring. I'm so far away, and all I've got is this manky apple. It's like, that's not how you treat a VIP, is it? Surely.
And a picnic desk that's made of balsa wood.
Yeah.
I mean, if I even attempted to sit down at that desk, the desk would have collapsed. It was just ridiculous. And a barbecue indoors, and you could tell that it was set up to have a spot because Dusty kind of really over-eggs the pudding, saying, "Hit him with the barbecue. It's right behind you. The barbecue is over there." But it's still entertaining. It's fun. I like the kind of viciousness of Savage. I mean, we've seen Savage where he's paranoid and going crazy in WWF, and that kind of follows over into this match because he attacks 3 referees in this fight. He literally just batters every single one, and then Nick Patrick comes out. I remember him from being the NWO sanctioned referee, and I think he's now kind of turned back to the WCW side, but he's got a very spiffy mustache, so we'll forgive him that. But he comes to kind of save the day, and eventually he ends up getting decked as well.
Yeah, and again, I think it's Dusty again on commentary that is absolutely brilliant here. Because Schiavone's doing what he does. He's getting excited. He's raising his voice. He's going on, and he's attacked this referee, and he's attacked that referee. Oh no, he's given the referee a pile driver. And then Dusty just goes, "Huh, we're going to need another referee." And it's like, no shit.
But the match is unsanctioned anyway, so why would you keep sending your referees out to get whooped?
Yeah, exactly. Oh dear. There's a moment as well where Randy Savage kind of backs Kimberly into the crowd.
And it looks like he's going to absolutely waylay her.
Yeah, and the fans are protecting her. There's a couple of fans there that are sort of going across Kimberly's body because she's half up on the crowd barrier in the corner. And the crowd are sort of holding on to her and saying to Savage, come on and hit me rather than her. These don't look like plants to me. They don't look like, this is part of the... But also, how risky is that when you've got somebody like Kimberly who's dressed the way she is and you've got all these tubby, sweaty men pouring at her in the corner? That's quite a dodgy move, isn't it, really?
I mean, it is, but you're talking about a company that probably didn't give any kind of a foresight to stuff like that. They were just happy that they were packing out audiences and the crowd was so invested in what was going on. I thought it was a great visual. The fans who knew it was a scripted show, but still willing to put themselves in the way to protect her. I thought that was a really good visual.
I think there's a lot of moving parts in this match that are very well connected to the audience. I think you got the whole NWO thing, and I mean that's something you notice from the crowd as well. There's so many NWO shirts, so people are either pro NWO and fully behind Savage, or they hate this whole thing. And Paige is massively over as well, so they got a lot of people cheering for Paige. Elizabeth magazine, as you said, always gets a reaction when she comes out, and Kimberly at this stage as well is hugely popular. There's a lot of players in this contest that have that link with the audience, I think.
Yeah, and then when even with the end with Scott Hall coming out, there's NWO and WCW was hot. There's no two ways about it. It was people were clamoring to be involved in this, and it was the hottest thing in wrestling. So you can totally understand why the fans were so deeply invested in it that they would love to be a part of it. It was cool. It was a cool thing to be a part of.
Also thinking about that, looking at the crowd, lots of NWO shirts, not many kids. They saw one or two, but not many kids at all, is there?
The demographic that they were aiming for was not the demographic that WWE aims for now. That's why they were aiming for young males, because that was what was cool at the time. That's why they had the likes of Kimberly and the likes of Liz coming out like they are, and then the superstars who you can really connect with in the likes of Paige. Yeah, I think it was like almost like a catching lightning in a bottle, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we get another moment where Savage is on the outside here. And again, the craziness, I suppose, the madness of the Macho Man character, because he's attacked the referee and he attacks a cameraman as well.
He in the lead up to that, I think he's going to pile drive Paige onto the concrete.
Yes.
And then Nick Patrick saying, "Look, no, you're going way too far now." So he ends up making the save. He gets levered for it, and then a cameraman suddenly, not even a cameraman, just a photographer. He ends up being in the way and just gets absolutely waylaid, gets all the film ripped out of his camera, and his camera smashed all over the floor. But I mean, we know now as jaded wrestling fans that was a time-filling plot to wait for Paige to be ready for the next spot. But yeah, it looked pretty brutal. It was Savage really going looper. He essentially snapped.
Yeah, and that's kind of what the character was for so long after this. Even when the NWO was done and dusted, you had the whole Macho Madness aspect carried on into like 99 and so on. It was, that's how good Savage was, I guess, the way he could evolve and change his character, but still very much be Randy Savage,
Yeah, absolutely. There's not many wrestlers, especially around that time, who could play a paranoid, crazy wrestler and you would believe every single word of it. But with Savage, you believed he was nuts.
Yeah, Yeah, totally. I mean, as you mentioned, Magsy, Scott Hall arrives eventually. We have a couple of diamond cutter attempts that are countered or whatever early on.
The first counter, I think he does a jawbreaker. Savage essentially grabs Page's head, drops to his knees, so Page's head hits off the chin of Savage, and then Page kind of stumbles backwards and falls through the ropes. Very reminiscent of Dean Ambrose when he used to do that kind of like rebound DDT fall, but Page just falls straight to the floor. But that was
Splat.
it's such an overreaction to a jawbreaker, but yeah, it was such good fun.
Yeah, I mean, eventually he does hit the diamond cutter,
Mhm.
and that leads to Scott Hall coming down. The ref is down, Savage is down, Page is down, everyone's down. Everyone's out of it. Apart from Scott Hall, he comes down sporting his new WCW World Tag Team title belt. He won a few minutes before this match. Lovely, lovely looking championship there. He arrives.
It looks very small on him though.
Yeah.
It's such a big guy. It looks like a child's belt.
Yeah, it looked all right when he was carrying it over his shoulder or
Yeah.
whatever. Same as Nash, who was his partner at this time. It looks all right when they were carrying it. As soon as they tried to wear it, you're right, it looks dinky. It looks Fisher Price or something. Yes. We end up eventually with Scott Hall giving the outsider's edge or Razor's edge, as it was formerly known, to Page, and Savage picks up the win that way.
Yeah, but there were a couple of times when he was attempting that outside edge that I was actually worried he was going to drop Page. He struggled to not so much to get him up, but he struggled to keep him up there, and you could see Page really having to shift his weight, so it made it a little bit easier for Scott to finish it off. But yeah, it was brutal. And then Hall essentially throws Savage onto Page, picks up the referee. The referee does a slow laboured count, and Savage gets to win. Oh no, sorry, Savage. He picks up Savage, but then Savage says, "No, I'm going for the elbow drop."
Yeah, the big elbow. Didn't it look good?
Yeah, I mean, he struggled a little bit. There were a time just before this where Savage looked like he stumbled over the ropes getting into the ring. He looked like he fell over, but when he was on the top, it was a bit wobbly. You can tell he'd been in a bit of a war. But yeah, once he hits that elbow, probably at the time the best elbow drop in wrestling for me. Now it's probably beyond Kairi Sane's. I think that one is just phenomenal.
I'd throw Shawn Michaels' name in there as well.
Yeah, I suppose he asked Savage for permission to use it as well, didn't he? And Savage gave the okay for it. So, but yeah, Savage hits the elbow, get the slope in, and the NWO win. And at the point, just after the match, I was actually a little bit kind of disappointed that the NWO won. Obviously, we've not seen a lot of this at the time. You always want the good guy to win, but then you kind of understand why, because NWO was so hot and they were running roughshod over everything. It absolutely made sense for the NWO to overpower one guy. So that kind of fleeted a little bit, but it was an enjoyable match. A lot of fun.
Yeah, we didn't mention it as we're doing our little rundown there, but I suppose we can now. The tea tray did get used, didn't it, and smashed over somebody.
It was the tea tray at the beginning with the DDP, and I think Tony Schiavone says, "Oh, it looked like a hubcap."
Yeah,
and then
what car is he driving?
Yeah, and I think it's Dusty says no hubcap breaks like that. And I think is it Bob Air on commentary as well.
Yeah,
he says, "Oh, they do if Savage is swinging them at you." And then later on, they do essentially the same spot with at the VIP section where Savage gets clocked with a tea tray, but this one just shatters like just into hundreds of thousands of pieces of very sharp glass. So they over-egged the pudding with those shots, but it was still it looked cool.
Yeah, I think so. What do you reckon then, Mags? Out of 10, where are we placing this one, bud?
Yeah, for a match that I've not seen before, I was entertained in watching it. It never got to a point where I was looking away or was checking the clock. It was simplistic, like you said. I think that was the perfect way to explain this brawl. But it had some over the top moments. The VIP stuff didn't really make sense, but I can see why they did it. The stuff with the tea tray was fun. It's not the best thing we've ever watched, but it's nowhere near the worst. So it's another one that's I'm kind of like repeating myself week in week out, but it's one that's very middle of the road. So I'm going to go with a 7, I think.
Okay, I got 6.5, so we're not far off.
Mm-hmm.
Not far off. So yeah, I think that's fair enough. Everything you said there is fair enough, Magsy. It's good. It serves the purpose for what they needed it to do. The NWO picked up the heat, I guess. Savage looked good, but Page looked good in defeat as well. It was just a great time in wrestling, wasn't it? 1997, absolutely great time.
Yeah,
That's my good lady in the chat. What's she saying there?
She's saying, does Kenny Omega remind anyone else of DDP, or is it just me? Hashtag sorry, I had to say it. I don't think in terms of wrestling style or kind of character, I don't see a lot of resemblance. The curly, wild hair, I see a little bit of resemblance.
That's what Sharon means, like that appearance, the hair and so on.
So Dan's saying, nah, Kenny doesn't have any of DDP's charisma or personality. You know, Kenny gets a lot of grief. I think he does have charisma and personality, but it's totally different to DDP's. DDP you can relate to as he's like one of us. He's a man of the people. Kenny is almost like, it's almost childlike. His wrestling character, like a spoilt brat right now.
Yeah, but I think he's great, Kenny Omega. I got a lot of time for Kenny Omega. Yeah. So there we go then, Magsy. Shall we have a little look at where we're going next?
Well, we will when you get to say yours, but I'll throw one in there as a mate weight.
It's not been that long. You talking about this role we were talking about just before we start recording. I've won 3 on the banks. It seems like longer because we had that week off for a bit. That's all it is, mate. And you're still up. You're still 2 ahead over. I've just closed the gap. That's all. You're still 2 ahead.
I mean, it goes to show though, just how even this is. I mean, we're very close in the amount of picks we've won. We're very close in the ratings that we've given each other. We have a lot of similarities in our kind of wrestling mindsets.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually got the figures, the exact figures, Max, the exact figures up in front of me right here, so we can have a quick look now, shall we?
You are such a nerd.
Yeah, I love it, mate. I love a spreadsheet. We have you've won 22 polls, I've won 20 with 1 draw, and the average rating you give, this is before today's ratings, I haven't added those yet, is 7.1512, and mine is 7.151. So we are literally 0.002 out after 44 shows.
That's way closer than I actually thought it was.
That's insane, isn't it?
I thought we'd be within like half a point maybe, but
that's mad. Considering there are some things that you know, going back through that list, there's some things you've given a 7 to, and I've given a 3 and stuff like that. It's quite.
Some have been wildly different in. But, it's interesting how so eerily similar our ratings are. But let's see where we're going to go. Let's see what match isn't going to win next week's poll. So for my link, I went for one of my old tropes, and I looked at Shaggy Dave's ratings for this match, and he actually agrees with me more than he does with you. He gave this 3 3/4.
Okay.
And Page has had 2 matches that have bettered this for a score. So his highest rated matches are 4 stars. The first one was at WCW Spring Stampede 1998 when he fought Raven. But the one that I want to go to and it's actually from it's just from an episode of Nitro. It's not even a
Okay.
pay-per-view match. It's the episode of Nitro where Ric Flair is sectioned. He gets put into a mental hospital. It's from the 26th of April 1999, and it's Diamond Dallas Page versus Sting for the WCW World Heavyweight title. But I want to throw a caveat in. Now, if my match wins, I also want us to cover another match on that very same show because Page is beaten for his title by Sting.
Oh, spoiler alert, Max.
But he's then in a four-way match for that very same title in the main event of the show because Ric Flair from the lunatic asylum is still pulling the strings, and he's on the phone to Charles Robinson, and Charles Robinson essentially makes a four-way match. So yeah, if man wins, we'll actually be covering two matches next week, both involving Sting, both involving Diamond Dallas Page, and then in the second one, throwing in a little bit of Kevin Nash and Goldberg. So, yep, the 26th of April, 1999 episode of Raw, Sting versus Diamond Dallas Page for the WCW Heavyweight title.
Man, that's 99 WCW was so batshit crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just listen to what you've said there. You've got a world title match on Nitro, which is fair enough.
It's the third match on the card as well.
And then you've got Ric Flair getting sectioned. You've got you've got another world title match in the set. Mate, honestly, you say we'll cover two matches there. We'll probably end up looking at that whole episode of Nitro because it's just so freaking stupid.
I actually looked it up on. I looked it up on the network to see if it was right from the cage match rundown, and it is. It's 2 hours 20 minutes of lunacy, absolute lunacy.
I think this is prime Russo, isn't it? This era, is that right? April 1999.
It feels like it. If it's not, it certainly has got his stink all over it.
Oh, why?
I mean,
why?
We even get on the show Booker T and Meng facing off for the television title as well. It's brilliant.
Just mental. There's nothing on a poll though, is there?
Let me actually go through it. So, title match, 2-on-1 handicap match, cruiserweight title match, 4-way hardcore match, US title match. I mean, this is a pay-per-view. There's that many title matches. It's a pay-per-view level event.
And Ric Flair getting sectioned.
And Ric Flair rocking round a lunatic home, windmilling people.
Oh my goodness. And yet that is probably still better than Monday Night Raw at the moment.
Dan is actually giving us a little bit of info, and I'm sure he's gleaned this info from Rob, saying Russo didn't actually get to WCW till the 18th of October 1999. Well, they must have been preparing for him with this lunacy.
Yeah. Oh, still sounds good, mate. Still sounds good. I would also like to stick with WCW and I suppose NWA, that kind of side of the fence, for want of a better term. But I'm going back a little bit further. I'm going back very much to sort of one of my favorite eras of wrestling, the sort of late 80s, very early 90s, NWA, Jim Crockett Promotions, WCW sort of time period. I'm sticking with the Great American Bash as the link. That's how I'm jumping to this match here. We're going to hopefully go to the Great American Bash 1990. And I would like to look at a tag team match for the NWA United States Tag Team Championships. Now, the reason I've picked this is because we've had a lot of wrestling from more recent times. Obviously, we've gone back a little bit here to 97. But it's more sort of Attitude Era onwards in recent weeks, I think, barring 89 last week. It's been a lot of recent stuff. So I thought, let's go back a little bit and have a look at some proper old school NWA. I went through old Great American Bash cards using that as the link. And this match, similar to yourself, Magsy, looking at the stars and so on. This match, old Shagger Dave gave 4.75 stars to. So I thought, well, that's good. And I know you yourself are a big tag team guy. So I thought this is going to be great. We can have a little look at this tag team contest here from the Great American Bash 1990, 4.75 stars. It is the Midnight Express team of Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane. In my opinion, one of the greatest tag teams of all time. And 1990 is very much, one of the peaks of Midnight Express era, the Stan Lane version anyway. And they faced the team of the Southern Boys, which was Steve Armstrong and Tracy Smothers. Now, you don't always have to agree with Dave Meltzer, obviously. But in this instance, I have seen this match, and it is very, very, very good. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm excited about watching that tag match. I'm excited about going back. That's, again, really much in my wheelhouse. I love that kind of era. But this crazy batshit episode of Nitro really appeals to me,
Well, you could always forego your pick and let me win one for once. But no, yours sounds good. Like I said, it plays to my love of tag team wrestling. The Midnight Express they just epitomise what tag team wrestling was all about.
Yeah.
And Tracy Smothers, we're watching a lot of him on A Change in Attitude in his run in WWF as Freddie Joe Floyd.
Yes.
And even though he's there as a jobber, you can see the talent that he had and the charisma that he had. The crowd absolutely love him. So yeah, I would be happy to watch that match.
So there we go for next week. I'm loving this bit. I'm loving this. 2 WCW picks. Oh, that is awesome.
I know.
I love it.
You will never get this ever again, people. So just cherish it.
We have Diamond Dallas Page versus Sting for the WCW World Title on the episode of Nitro from the 26th of April 99. But also following on from that, we have the 4-way match in the main event of the show, which stems from the Page Sting World Title match as well, which involves Goldberg and Nash. I think you said, Maxie, was it? So a little double bubble there, double your money, I suppose. 2 options in that one, or we have something slightly older. Great American Bash 1990, NWA United States Tag Team Championships, the Midnight Express, Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane with Mr. Jim Cornette facing the Southern Boys of Steve Armstrong and Tracy Smothers. The poll will be up as normal after the audio version drops later in the week. Chuck us a vote, a retweet. Let us know your thoughts online as well. Always interesting when we see people voting and then explaining why they've chosen a particular match and so on, which is great. So yeah, brilliant stuff. A little message there from Matt Willis in the chat as well. So give a read of that one, Magsy. I agree with Matt here.
Yeah, essentially, as soon as this show wraps up, Matt and myself, and I don't know if he's got any surprise guests lined up, but we're going to be covering this past weekend's football. So, yeah, Radio Tech is coming hard and fast with very varied and unique content week in, week out. So definitely stick around for that, where you'll see more of me. And if you want to see more of me on the Twitters, you can follow me down here at PodfatherMags. You can hear my voice all over Radio Techers, all over the chair shot where I'm on Changing Attitude, which I've just mentioned, where we're going back through the Attitude era of WWF, and we're wallowing through a lot of crap now. I'm not going to lie. 1996 is not the best year for the WWF, but we're starting to see the kind of push for Stone Cold Steve Austin and really starting to ramp into WWF being dragged into the Attitude Era. So yeah, definitely check that out. We're having a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, definitely so. Yeah, I just want to echo Mag's sentiments there about Radio Techers. I mean, I mentioned it the other day on SJP. If anyone caught the sort of second episode back, we have such great stuff as 5 rounds here with Magsy himself.
The episode where Sa got Radio Techers its first copyright claim, which is brilliant. Nailed it.
Brilliant. Yeah, and it's the theme tune to SJP that I've used since episode 1. We're now on episode 49. The theme tune I've used for SJP was off a website that was supposed to be copyright free music. Turns out somebody uploaded it when they shouldn't, and a year and a bit in, somebody has put some little band in Turkey has said, "Hey, that's our song." So yeah, you'll have new music this week of SJP, I'll tell you. But there we go. Also, speaking of SJP this week, all goes to plan recording wise and so on. I can't see why it wouldn't. Somebody making their podcast debut. Isn't that right, Sharon, if you're still in the chat?
Oh, so she won't rock up on Chain Wrestling, but she'll happily turn up for SJP. And now I know where I stand, Sharon.
Oh, don't be like that, mate. Yeah, so on Techers, we got so much going on. You know, wrestling, football, UFC. It's fantastic stuff. So, and the best thing you can do is follow Radio Techers on Twitter. It's give it a thumbs up, give it a like on YouTube, give it a subscribe, all that good stuff. Just to make sure, hit that little bell so you get reminders, you get notifications whenever anything's going on. Sometimes the guys literally just pop on without hardly any warning at all, just to comment on some breaking news and so on. It's absolutely well worth it. Well worth it. Some brilliant content creators doing brilliant things. Sharon in the chat there. It's me. It's SJP. Yeah, because Sharon's initials are exactly the same as mine. So,
oh, that's awesome. I mean, so essentially, it's her podcast from now on.
Yeah, she'll be. That I'm retiring from SJP as of
that's
Thursday.
why I won't have Mrs. Megs on any of my content, because she will. People will fall in love with her, and they won't want to hear my voice ever again.
See, I've got to have my wife on my show because I found out about you messaging her on the sly. Matt Willis has been messaging her on the sly. All the guys from Techers are messaging my wife. She's married, you fuckers. Anyway, make sure you follow Radio Techers. Make sure you follow Mr. Mags at Podfather Mags on the Twitters. You can follow me at SJP Words. Make sure you follow the show on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all the other good stuff. MySpace, Bebo, whatever. At chain_wrestling. Maxie, I think I'm gonna nip downstairs and spray paint my initials on a dinner tray. I'll see you next week, mate.
See you later. Bye-bye.